everyone, welcome back. For those of you who are new here, and I can see that there are a lot of new subscribers here on this channel since I was last uploading regularly, like last year. So for all of you guys, welcome. My name is Brittany. I'm a health coach and nutritionist, and this channel is all about helping people with IBS create low FODMAP recipes to help reduce their IBS symptoms and improve their lives. I thought I would kick off my return with a soup video because you guys know I love soup. It is soup season and I'm so excited. This is a recipe that I actually started making during my pregnancy, and I've had it on repeat ever since because it is so good. It is like one of my new favorites. It is Polish pickle soup. Now, I know that sounds super weird, warm pickles, right? But it's actually really, really good. And I actually had one of you guys reach out and ask me to make a low FODMAP version of this soup quite a while ago. So I don't remember who it was, but I'm so glad that one of you guys asked me how to make it because you inspired me to learn how to do so. And I'm actually Polish. I'm half Polish. So that's quite fortuitous. I have never really, I didn't really grow up with my Polish relatives or anything. I haven't had any authentic Polish cooking. But I guess this is kind of authentic because I am Polish. I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, this is a basic chicken, carrot, potato soup. What makes it different is that we are going to be adding pickles at the end, along with a little bit of pickle brine and some heavy cream to give it a brothy but also rich and briny broth to it. It's similar to Zupa Toscana, how it's brothy but also a little bit creamy, and but it's got the zesty pickliness to it. It's really good, and the dill is just amazing in it. You guys know I love dill. So let's get started. Let's start by peeling our carrots. Thank you so much to all of you that have been continually watching my videos and subscribing to the channel, even though I haven't been uploading regularly. I really appreciate your continued support, especially my Patreon patrons. That's been really nice. It has been, it's been really difficult getting back to the channel, transitioning to motherhood. It's been great. Baby's sleeping right now. Maybe he will make an appearance a little bit later. But yeah, so I've just been focusing on, being at home, being a mom, and now that baby Jay is sleeping in the crib on his own mostly through the night, and that he has a regular nap schedule, I've been able to sleep a little bit more and have some time to get back to the channel. So I'm really hoping to upload more regularly for you guys. Okay. I'm just gonna chop off the ends. And then we want a larger slice on this because it helps the carrots to maintain their structure while we cook the soup. I also like to cut on a diagonal like this because, one, it gives the carrot a little bit more surface area for when you're browning them to have more of a Maillard reaction and collect more flavor. But it also just looks fancy. So you could totally just cut them regular if you want. Doesn't matter. I also kind of like when you are eating a soup and you just get one big spoonful of carrot, I'm gonna set these aside. Okay, now I have gold potatoes, which, you could use russet potatoes if that's what you have, but I really recommend gold potatoes because they are less starchy than russet potatoes. They're more moist, more buttery, which I feel, it's just better. And then also they don't have as thick of skins. So I never remove them, honestly, even when I make mashed potatoes. Okay, so I've just kind of cut this into 3 slices because this is like a smaller potato, and then in half and in thirds again. So you're gonna get about 1-inch cubes. So typically when you chop things, you want them to be about the same size when you want them to be the same size so that they don't break down differently, like when you cook them, right? But since we are going to be cooking these carrots first before we put in the potatoes, that's why I leave my carrots a little bit larger. Okay, now since this potato is a little bit bigger, I think I'm gonna do it, no, I'm still gonna do it in 3 slices this way. But this way, I'm gonna cut it into 4. There we go. Okay. So I think proportionally, I want a little bit more carrots. So let me grab another one. Okay, so we are going to be using a total of 5 carrots and 4 potatoes. But you know what? It's just like so hard to be like precise, you know what I mean? Because like carrots come in a range of sizes, so do potatoes. So, you know, that's why I kind of showed you like proportionally what's going on here. There we go. That feels a little bit better to me. All right, lastly, I am going to chop up some dill that we are going to save to add to the soup at the very end. If you guys have never cooked with fresh dill, like, you need to. It will change your life. It is so good. Okay, I'm not going to do this whole bunch of dill. If you cannot find dill in your supermarket, like fresh dill, you could do dried dill, but I probably wouldn't do it as the garnish at the end. I would probably do like a fresh parsley, but then put the dried dill on the chicken when I was cooking. I think, because you just want something like fresh and like bright green in your soup at the end. I just, you know, it's like not, I just feel like a meal isn't complete unless you've got like a bright green garnish, personally. All right, I'm gonna give this a good once over. Ugh, my knives are so dull. I really need to learn how to sharpen them. All right, let's set this aside, and now let's dice up our chicken. For this, I'm actually going to be using my boning knife, which I got for Christmas, and it's actually like really sharp still. So since these are like thick boy chicken breasts, we're gonna split them down the middle first, and then dice them because it's gonna give us a more like uniform size. I think it's just like splitting them. Okay. You could use chicken thighs in this recipe if you wanted, but I personally prefer chicken breast in soup. Okay, same thing with this one. We're just going to turn it on its side and then split it down the middle. I also recommend splitting your chicken breasts like this if you were just going to sear them up on the stove. It helps you get a much juicier chicken breast. If you try to cook it on the stove when it's super fat like that, the outsides are going to be really dry and the inside's going to be raw. Just quick tip. Okay, again, I'm going to trim off this little bit right here. Not because I'm trying to make this soup like super lean or anything, but I just feel like it's going to be weird texturally if you get that in a bite, you know? All right, and now we're gonna wait to salt this till right before we put it in the pot, because otherwise it'll start like drawing out the water, and I don't really want that. Okay, before we move over to the stove, I decided I should chop up these pickles first, so let's do that. I also wanted to say that you want to make sure that you choose a quality pickle that is fermented, like a raw pickle, right? So you don't want to use like the regular Vlasic pickles. Like, for one, it's a quick pickle, which means all of this liquid is just vinegar. And I mean, you could put vinegar in your soup. I have made like chicken soups with vinegar in them, like a chimichurri type of chicken soup. And it won't be bad, but it's different. It won't be this. So you want to make sure you, like, I love this brand Bubby's. You want the kosher dill pickles. Do not get the bread and butter pickles. Those ones are sweet and weird. You want a pickle that says fermented on it. You want it to say like brine. You want it to say on the ingredients, you want it to say water and salt. If it says vinegar on there, it is a quick pickle. It's not a naturally fermented pickle. Now, I like these pickles because they have probiotics in them from the fermentation process. We're not going to really get that in this recipe because we're putting them in hot liquid, right? But you know, they're just great to have on hand to eat. Oh my God, if Bubby's sees this video and wants to sponsor me and give me free pickles for life, that would be awesome. I was so obsessed with these pickles while I was pregnant. But I will mention more about that when I do my what I ate while pregnant on the low FODMAP diet. So another one of you guys asked me to make that video, and I have it in the works, so keep an eye out for that. Okay, so I just cut this into thirds and then just give it a chop. We want like small bite-sized pieces. Okay, now we are going to move over to the stovetop and get this cooking. We are going to be using garlic oil in our recipe, which is not necessary, but it does add an extra dimension. So I will leave a link for the garlic oil recipe down below. I don't have bone broth today, so instead I'm going to be using some of this collagen gelatin. I'll also leave a link down below for this. You can get it off Amazon. It's like super easy. If I was going to be using bone broth, I would do half the liquid bone broth for the recipe and then half water, because I feel like if you do all bone broth, it's just like too rich. Personally, that's what I think. This one, I like to add the collagen to my soup recipes because collagen is really good to help repair a damaged stomach lining, which a lot of you are probably trying to do. It's also good if you have any sort of like injury that you're trying to heal from. It's also really great for growing babies. So that's why I was putting it in my soup. The only thing is that when it is cold in the refrigerator, it is going to be like a solid, like gelatinous brick of soup, which is like kind of weird. But like once you warm it up, it's completely liquid. So yeah. All right, let's do it. All right, guys, we have our large Dutch oven here on the stove on a large burner. I'm gonna preheat this over medium-high heat. And if you don't have a Dutch oven, then a stainless steel pot will work just as well. You just don't want to use nonstick. It's just going to leach a bunch of chemicals, and you don't want that because that's bad for your stomach also. I know this is a primarily low FODMAP recipe channel, but I've said this many times that healing your gut, it really goes beyond the FODMAPs, right? And part of that is getting chemicals out of your kitchen. So that's why I really like these enameled, the enameled Dutch oven, the enameled cast iron, regular cast iron, and stainless steel. That's what I recommend. Oh, whoops. I turned on the wrong burner. Okay, now we're just gonna let that heat up. So since they are, like, this isn't going to take as long if you're using stainless steel, but since this is a thick pot, it takes a little bit of time for it to like come up to temperature. Boo. Okay, I'm going to add a tablespoon of butter. Again, make sure you are using high quality butter because the lower, like, don't use margarine. That is not food. But cheaper butter can a lot of times have lactose in there. So if you're feeling like you have an issue with lactose but butter is like giving you a problem, check the quality of the butter because that could be the issue for you. I'm also going to add about a tablespoon of garlic oil. Oh my God, it smells amazing already. Okay, now we're gonna add our carrots. And we're also gonna add a teaspoon of salt. I feel like these need a little bit more salt. That was about a half a teaspoon more. I will have the recipe linked for you down below on the website with all of the final measurements. It is back up. I'm so sorry that it was down for months. Long story. If you follow me on Instagram, then you know. But yeah, we do have it back up. Okay, so I'm making sure all of the carrots got coated with salt, and then I'm just gonna kind of flatten them out on those large diagonal edges so that they can brown. Okay, now we just want to let them cook for a little while so they get that nice brown Maillard reaction going, which develops flavor. I really like to do this with my carrots in soup because, I don't know, I'm probably like a weirdo, but I feel like carrots are so sweet. And if you can just totally like throw them in the soup like towards the end when we put in the potatoes and not brown them. Like you can totally do that. But when I do that, I just feel like the carrots are too sweet. So I like to get them like caramelized. The secret to getting a really good sear on them is to not stir them. Just get them flattened out and leave them alone. Okay, so my stove is a little tilted and all of my fat is running over to here to this side. So I'm gonna tilt my pot a little bit to get the fat back on this side. There we go. And you see how it's getting pretty browned on this side. Maybe just a couple more minutes. Oh, see, like this is beautiful. Okay, so I think these are done. You see how this side's like a little bit lighter, even on the sides that aren't like super brown. This lightness is beautiful. So I don't want them to all get too cooked, you know? Okay, and we're not trying to cook these through. Like I said, we're just trying to get some flavor on them. So we're gonna push these to the side. And we're gonna add a little bit more fat to this side of the pan. We're gonna do about half a tablespoon of butter and half a tablespoon of garlic oil. And this is because I am using a leaner chicken breast, but if I was using a chicken thigh, I probably wouldn't add much fat. Oh, before I sprinkle this in, I'm just gonna put a teaspoon of salt on the top. And then add one more teaspoon. I'm just gonna use salt today, but sometimes I do put a little bit of white pepper on this chicken also, just to give it like a little extra flavor, but I don't have any right now, and the last few times I've been to the store, they haven't had it. Oh my God, I think I forgot to cut this piece. Oh well. If you wanted to make this like more flavorful, a spice that I think would be really good to complement this dish would be mustard seed powder or cumin, or like I said, dried dill, if you wanted to use dried dill instead of fresh dill. because those are kind of flavors that go well with pickles. Okay, so we're just gonna let this like turn white and opaque on the outside. We are not looking to cook this through. What this does is it makes your soup not get all of that weird foamy stuff up at the top. That happens when you put raw chicken into the water. So you see it kind of, the chicken kind of stuck to the pan at first. Just wait until it releases, and then it's ready to be stirred. I don't know how I missed this piece, but I did. Okay, now we're gonna add our potatoes and our water. Okay, see how we got, how our water has deglazed the pan, and now we have this beautiful, like, brownish broth that's going to be flavored like our carrots and our chicken, and which is another reason why I don't really feel like it is necessary to use bone broth in this recipe, since I am searing the chicken a little bit. You know, we're getting that chicken flavor. It's not just water. Okay, we do need to add a little bit more.
Hi. You here often? Come here often?
So I am reserving a tiny bit of liquid because we're going to add our gelatin to this. So you have to bloom it in cold water first and then add it to your warm water. Otherwise, it'll stick. It'll like clump up if you put it directly into hot liquid. I know there are other collagens out there that don't do that. That's made to like go directly into hot liquids, like hot or cold liquids, but they don't solidify in the same way that the collagen gelatin does. So that's why I prefer this one. Also, I know that this looks like very thick right now, but we are going to be adding a little bit more liquid to the end of the cooking process. We're going to be adding a little cream and the pickle brine. So, and I do like a heartier soup, but obviously you can make it as brothy as you like. All right, I'm going to add 2 scoops of this collagen gelatin. And I'm gonna whisk it. Because like, again, you wanna make sure it is completely dissolved before you add it to the hot soup. Okay, so let's just give that a minute while this comes up to temperature. Okay, now that this has come up to a simmer, I'm gonna add our, whoa, look how thick it is. I don't know if you can see this, just how thick it is. I'm gonna add the gelatin. You see, once it hits the hot liquid, it just completely liquefies. This is a question that I get a lot from my relatives especially. And it is, why when I make chicken soup, does my chicken breast always come out dry? And that is because you never want to boil your soup. Like, especially when you're cooking chicken breast, you always want to bring it to a simmer, like a strong simmer, and then reduce the heat. And you are just, you want to basically poach your chicken at a gentle simmer. If you boil your soup, your chicken will be dry, even though it's cooking in liquid. This is similar to my poached chicken breast meal prep video, if you're like more curious about that. Also, typically I would add a bit more salt to this water, but I'm just going to let it cook with the salt that we added to the chicken and to the carrots. I think that's going to be enough for now, because at the end we are going to add brine, which is salty. So I don't want to make it too salty. We'll taste at the end to make sure it has enough. Okay, so now that this is at a strong simmer, we're going to cover it and reduce the heat. So I have this down to low. It's not like low, but it's like one notch above like the lowest on a big burner. So let me let it calm down for a minute, and then I'll lift the lid so you can see like how strong it's simmering. Okay, so you just want a gentle simmer like that. Okay, and we're gonna let that cook for 15 to 20 minutes until our potatoes and carrots are cooked through. Your chicken will definitely be cooked through by the time your carrots and potatoes are tender. Okay, so yeah. Okay, our soup has been going for about 20 minutes. Nice and tender. Chicken cooked all the way through. So now I'm going to turn off the heat. And we're going to add our cream and our pickle brine. So for the measurement for this, we're just going to add a ladleful. So for cream, I like to just add a little bit to the ladle and then add the cream to the ladle, which is going to help to temper your cream so that it doesn't break when you put it in the soup. We're just going to mix that in. And you want to make sure when you choose your heavy cream that it doesn't have a ton of like gums and fillers in there. So this one isn't totally pure. It does have a little bit of like carrageenan and like some stuff like that, but it's less than 0.5%. And I have had other creams where it has the same ingredients, but it's proportionally more because it doesn't say less than 0.5%, and I can feel the difference. So just make sure you're not using something that like it has like a ton of like weird ingredients in there. Now for our pickle brine, we're just gonna do the same thing and add a ladleful. So make sure you shake up the brine so all of the like spices and everything are floating around. Okay. Okay, now lastly, we're going to be adding our pickles and our dill. I'm gonna leave a little bit just for garnish. Just give that a mix, and oh my god, doesn't it just look beautiful? Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, you need a fresh green herb in the soup. Like, it just like completely changes it. Okay, let's make sure everything gets combined. And then we're gonna give the broth a little taste to see if we need to add a little bit more salt. Perfect. Oh my god, I can't wait to eat some of this. Okay, let's go and dish this up.
Always stand where you put your food.
His feet are clean, they're baby feet. Okay. Say, this is why I haven't uploaded a video in 6 months. Yeah, this is why Mom hasn't uploaded a video in 6 months. Sorry. Sorry, everyone.
Okay. Say bye. Say bye, Internet. Say bye.
Bye. Bye, Internet. Okay. Okay. All right, guys, I am so excited to taste this. Well, I already know what it tastes like, but I'm excited to eat it. It's so good. I've been craving this all week. It's so good. I want to get some of the broth. Oh my god. So, like, is there anything more comforting than chicken soup? I don't think so. I mean, unless you add pickle juice to it. So, like I said, I always love pickles, but I was just obsessed with pickles when I was pregnant. So this like really hit the spot, and it's really hitting the spot right now too. You got the sweetness from the carrots with like balanced with like the savoriness from the cream in the sauce, and then you've got like the briny crunchy pickles. Oh, it's so good. And it's got all that extra collagen too. So yeah, what more could you want? All right, guys, I know this is like sort of I know this is sort of a weird recipe, pickles and soup, but I'm telling you, try it. It is so good. Also, guys, do not throw this empty jar of pickles away. Save the juice, okay? Because my next recipe, I'm gonna show you how to use this juice to brine some chicken thighs, and then we are going to make a 1-pot chicken and rice with this pickle juice, okay? Because I mean, these pickles are not cheap. I'm not gonna throw any of it away. Anyway, all right. So thank you guys so much for watching. It feels so good to be back, and I promise I am going to try my hardest to upload more regularly. I swear, okay? Thank you guys for subscribing, all of the new subscribers. Again, thank you to my patrons for your continued patronage while I have not uploaded very often. It feels so good to be back, and I will see you guys next time. Did you have a good nap?
Hi, JJ. Hi.
Hi.